In this video we are going to talk about sex. Yeah, that's right. Your Uncle Bjorn, sitting there by the campfire, is going to talk about sex. That's right. And I'll give the good people a few moments to write funny comments. But it's actually a very serious matter. I have come across some disturbing numbers, some statistics that we need to talk about. First of all, why am I inside this shelter? Well, actually because I don't want to reveal my location, because I found Chanterelles. Yes, hundreds. And I don't want to reveal where I am. This is a very Scandinavian thing. We protect our chanterelle places with everything we have. It's a serious matter. In a recent video I talked about the decline in birth rates in Western, and developed countries. And that's an obvious problem because the populations are getting older and older, and eventually we will die out. And closely linked to that is, well, sex, of course. And if you look at the numbers, it's quite disturbing, especially when you look at young people. Now, I made some notes because I can't remember all these numbers. So let's go back to 2018. There was a poll and the results were shocking. And this is concerning people between, I believe it was between the ages of 18 and 30. And in that age group, 28% of men and 18% of women reported no sex ever. So basically they were virgins, or that they had not had sex since the age of 18. It needs to be said that as men gets closer to 30 in that group, the older men in that group, the number was much lower. In 2021, around 20% of men and women under 35 had not had sex during the last year. In 2008, that number was under 10%. All these polls, all these statistics, they point at the same problem. We are seeing a quite dramatic decline in sexual activity among young people, and especially young men. This is a problem, because not only are young people having less sex, but also it means that people are having children much later in life. And that again means that they will have fewer children than previous generations. And from that we can see that, the birth rates are going down quite dramatically. Well, since we are talking about sex, I'll get my woolen shirt off. It's yeah, I know. You are free to make all the jokes you want in the comment section, of course. And that's all fine. But it is July actually, so yeah. It was a cold morning actually, but it's getting warmer now. The people who did actual research on this, they have basically arrived at the same conclusions, and they are pointing at several reasons why this is happening. And I find it interesting, so I'll just briefly read these bullet points to you. So why is this happening? Well, social media, smartphone use and dating apps. It has changed dating behavior or mating behavior. So the research shows that women rate men on these dating apps much lower in attractiveness than men rate women. It's mentioned here, inflated perception of her so-called sexual market value. Me personally, I hate that term, but anyway. Education and career, it tends to result in women having fewer children and children later in life for obvious reasons. Also, lack of social skills. My generation, we had to develop social skills. We didn't have any smartphone or anything like that. But now you don't really have to interact face to face with people so much. And also, and this is an important one. The testosterone level in young men is just falling dramatically. And that should result in, less sex drive, basically. I will personally add to this that there is a Me Too effect here. Men got scared of approaching women, especially young men, especially when you're maybe, less confident, and you hear and you read about all these cases where men are basically called bad things for approaching women. They're called creeps and so on. You get scared, of approaching women if you're a young man. That's natural, And I will also personally add that we are seeing, and we have seen for a long time, they demonize men and masculinity, positive, real masculinity. It's being demonized. Toxic masculinity and all that, All of these things that I mentioned now, and many other things, I guess, they all contribute to this disturbing trend where people, especially young people, are having less sex. Now, not only is sex, of course, should be an important part of your life, but we need it in order to survive as a species. Yeah, I've come out and I've changed the microphone, so I don't know how the sound will be. But I decided that it will be very difficult just from this footage to tell where I am. But yeah, I'm going to harvest some of the larger chanterelles, just enough for my steak tonight, and leave the rest for a few days, and we'll see. Yeah. I think we need to get back to celebrating masculinity and femininity. We need to get back to being proud, of who you are. So, if you're a man, you should be proud of your masculinity. And if you're a woman, you should be proud of your femininity. And I want to especially young men and women out there, I want to tell you this. You matter. You have qualities that matter. You matter. You're important. And I hate this idea that more and more people they are just giving up on finding someone. I think that life should include intimacy and sex, and it's a natural part of life. And we need to get away from this, all the fake stuff, the digital stuff, and sitting there for hours, you know, just looking at the smartphone and all that. And if you have been following this channel, you know that I threw away my smartphone. It's more than 3 years since I did that now, and you know, it was a good thing to do. You know, I don't miss it. It's just life is better without it, and you know, we need to get back to the basics, you know, and because where we are now, it's not healthy, it's not good, and it's hurting people. Many of you have seen my video where I was out by the sea, and I talked about you know, men opting out of you know, the whole dating mess and all of that. And in that video I said something along the lines, so you know, the uncomfortable truth that women don't want to hear is that we have gotten to a place now where women are not always seen as attractive, or should I say less and less women are perceived as attractive, and it has to do with, you know, things like obesity, let's be honest, and a certain attitude, you know, a hostile attitude towards men, and also a rather extreme look to, you know, many, you know, the blue hair, nose ring thing and all that. It's quite extreme, you know, and especially men who have who want to have kids and so on, they're not going to be attracted by that. And that's a truth that people don't like to hear, but it's still the truth, you know. So again, you know, we need to get back to what's natural, what is right, what is how we are meant to be. And I find it difficult to find the right words to express this, but I think you all know what I'm talking about here. I'm out here in nature. There's a reason for that, you know. Let's get back to what's real, what's natural, who we are as a species, you know, men and women and all that. It's not complicated. It really isn't, you know. And in my experience is, you know, when you are as a man honest about these things, and you know, that in itself is actually seen as attractive by women. These, you know, people on the internet and so on, I guess I'm on the internet as well, but they're probably not going to tell you that, because it's always, it's so hostile, you know, it's so full of conflict, and oh, women are the worst, or men are the worst, and all of that. Let's be better than that, shall we? I mean, we're getting nowhere with that kind of attitude. I'm getting into areas now that people might recognize, so I better stop filming. But I want to end this video with just mentioning something that I have observed during the last few weeks. No mosquitoes, no flies, nothing. And I'm in Scandinavia, in a spruce forest. There should be, I mean, it's July, it should be 1 million mosquitoes here. And I know this is a different topic, but I thought I would mention it because I've never experienced something like this before. What's happening? No mosquitoes. Not a single one. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, you know, like and subscribe if you want to. That would be awesome. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the whole mess. You know. Okay. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.